The worst date I've ever been on actually seems like a fever dream. Spoiler alert, it just keeps getting worse. When I was in my freshman year of college, I was going on so many dates, like at least 5 every week. I literally never said no to a date. My motto was that it was always going to be either a good time or a good story, so I should just go with it. And I was right. This is a great story.
Well, I clearly disagree with that. I always say that if you are not interested at all and you know that there's no way on earth you're ever gonna give this person a chance in a romantic way, then may as well not go on a date with them. Because if you go on dates with everyone and anyone, there's higher chances of leading on someone or getting a stalker or even being associated with someone that you don't really like, someone embarrassing that can now say that he took you on a date. I mean, there are way more reasons why you should not go on a date if you're truly not interested in someone, but I'm not going to go into all of them right now.
This boy messaged me on a dating app and said that he had actually seen some of my videos on TikTok and he wanted to take me on a date. He dropped some funny pickup line and then said, just like how I don't do boring pickup lines, I don't do boring dates. So I was like, okay, like fun, like he seems fun. But I agreed to go on this date and he says, okay, I'll pick you up on Thursday at 6 o'clock. I can't remember exactly what time it was, but we'll say 6 o'clock. So I agreed. I asked him what we were doing and he said it would be a surprise. Looking back, definitely not a good idea to go on a date with someone that you met online and they tell you that it's a surprise what you're going to do.
If you're already unsure about whether you want to go on a date with this person to begin with or not, and then they say that the first date is a surprise, or they're not very honest and direct about what they have planned out for both of you, then I think you should just cancel it. It's a bad idea. I covered many stories where girls didn't ask at all what the guy has planned out for a first date and they just end up regretting it. Because first of all, you don't even know this man. So his idea of what's fun and exciting and nice could not match your idea of what's fun like that. And that's even if he had good intentions. Not to mention that most guys that are meeting you for a first date, when they say that they have a surprise, in reality, it's not the truth. In reality, they just didn't think about it as of yet. So in reality, they have nothing planned out. And when you ask and they say surprise, they just want to buy some time to think of something. And eventually they end up not thinking about anything, because they're not that serious about it or because they're too lazy, and it just turns out to be nothing. It turns out to be a date where you two are just walking aimlessly into oblivion, like we saw in the last video in this series and on this playlist, or it ends up being a date in his car where you never park anywhere and you're just going on this long drive that can be scary on a first date. Like I said, it turns out to be nothing. In most cases, when a guy tells you it's a surprise on a first date, he's not going to plan anything at all. So you better cancel it, or you better insist and tell him to just tell you, because it's the first date and you want to make sure that you're safe.
That has red flags written all over it. I have no idea what I was thinking. So the day of the date rolls around. We hadn't spoken more than just those initial texts, and I hadn't heard anything else from him. So I messaged him and said, hey, are we still on for 6 o'clock? He responds at 6 o'clock and says, yeah, I'll come pick you up. So I come outside. I have no idea what car is his until he honks at me. I see it's him and I get in the car.
This just confirms my suspicions, because you had to remind him, you had to text him at the time that you two were planning on meeting at, and at that time he just replied that, yeah, I'll come pick you up now, after you reminded him with a text first. That tells me he has nothing planned out, and he just happened to have nothing to do when you reminded him by text. He just decided on the spot to come pick you up.
It's like raining outside and it was kind of dark and I still didn't know what we were doing. Get in the car and he says, so are you hungry? I never know how to answer that question because I don't want to respond with like, yes, I'm hungry, like feed me, but I also don't want to say, no, I'm not hungry if that's what he had planned, So I responded with like, oh, like I'm not starving, but I could eat. Somewhere in the middle. So I asked him what we're doing. He's like, it's a surprise.
I can already tell that this guy is not a gentleman, because the first assumption to make when meeting someone for a date, or you're going to spend some time with them, is that they did not eat. They want to talk to you over a meal. They want to get to know you. You only ever go on a first date to have a coffee or a meal or eat something, drink something, because if you don't, then there isn't much you can do. There aren't many other activities or or things you can do together on a first date, because you need to talk to each other. That is the purpose of a first date. You need to get to know each other. So, for example, you can't go to the cinema because that will mean you two will be watching a movie and not getting to know one another. So the most appropriate thing to do, in fact, is to drink something or eat something while the two of you are talking and chatting. By asking you, are you hungry? In this way, I think he's just trying to get permission from you to ignore that and not take you anywhere for a bite or a drink.
We start driving and he's like, well, actually, I'll just tell you, we're going on a picnic, but it's not a picnic. It was raining outside. It was like kind of dark. I said, what the freak does that mean? So he's like, let's go to the grocery store to get some snacks. We end up getting sushi from the grocery store and we get in the car. He drives a Jeep and he's like, we're going to go off-roading up the side of a mountain, park and eat this sushi. I was a little bit nervous because in Utah, if a guy ever takes you like into the mountains to like a lookout spot, it just means he wants to make out with you. So my guards are up. We go up the side of this mountain. I swear he almost flips the car like 4 times. I was terrified.
See how predictable this was? I already guessed it from the start. He had nothing planned out. So his plan is to take you to a supermarket, pick up a few items, go back in the car, go park somewhere and eat these items in the car. It's actually embarrassing. I would still try and understand doing something like this if he had a specific place in mind and if it was a sunny day and he wanted to take you to this area where there are many roses, many flowers, this secret little hidden gem of a spot. I would understand that. But that's not the plan. The plan is just to go back in the car and eat these items that he bought from a grocery store. And when you're a grown up, you're an adult, you're a grown woman, you understand why he's doing such a thing and it becomes embarrassing. He's doing it for financial purposes and to save money. Like, we can't lie or sugarcoat it. He's just going to pick up a few things from a supermarket, which makes it 10 times cheaper than it would be if you saw anywhere, whether it's a restaurant or a coffee shop. It's going to be more expensive when you're sitting there and eating, obviously. So he's thinking of the most affordable thing to do, which I can understand if his budget is very, very limited. But at the same time, it looks lazy. It looks like he doesn't want to put any effort in this. He's not invested. He's not that interested. It's not a good first impression.
And he grabs the sushi and then says to me, oh, I just realized that I forgot chopsticks or a fork or anything, but you weren't hungry anyways, right? I was like, oh no, like that's fine. He proceeds to eat the sushi by himself with his hands. So we're out chatting on the side of this mountain, just like kind of like get to know you stuff. Like, where are you from? How many siblings do you have? Like, whatever. He stops mid-conversation, looks me dead in the eyes and goes, are you a philosophy major? You just seem like you have the mind of a philosopher. So serious. I was like, no, I'm an open major right now. I don't really know what I'm studying yet. It was so awkward. It like got so serious.
This confirms that this guy should not be sympathized with. He's not someone that has a limited budget and that's why he's doing all this. He just wants to embarrass himself and the girl he's with, apparently, because on top of having picked up the sushi from a supermarket, now he proceeds to eat it with his hands and not share with the girl, which is ridiculous. This is evil. It's mean. You can't just buy food for yourself on a date and proceed to eat it without sharing with the other person, even if they said they're not hungry, which they only ever said that because you looked them in the eye and asked, are you hungry, to try and trap them or make them feel uncomfortable. Like she said, she didn't want to say, yeah, feed me, or be rude about it. So she's being considerate, but he's not at all. And this philosophy major question that he asked, I think is just a made up thing just to distract her from the fact that he didn't get her anything. He's eating this supermarket bought sushi by himself and he's not feeding the girl. Then he just wants to divert her attention and talk about random things and seem serious about it, when in reality he doesn't even care. Do you think this guy cares in the slightest about what major you're in?
Then his friend calls him. He answers the phone, has it on speakerphone, and his friend is like, oh, like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, like, I'm not doing anything, just like hanging out with a friend. And I was like, you're not hanging out with a friend. We're not friends. This is a first date and it's weird that you're answering your phone. So him and his friend just chat for a second and then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go now. As I'm just sitting in the car while he's eating sushi with his hands, chatting with his friend on the phone.
Well, yeah, he already told you. He doesn't consider this a first date. He couldn't care less. But like I said, this is why you don't go on a date, on a first date with someone that doesn't tell you what they planned for you two to be doing? Because what do you do at this point? Do you jump out of his car and stay stranded alone in the mountains? Do you ask him, like, obviously he's gonna get it if you ask him to take you back home or to drop you off somewhere. He's gonna understand that you're not interested in the slightest. You don't know this guy. You don't know how he's gonna react to knowing that there's no chance you're gonna see him again. So it's just a sticky situation overall.
Weird. So finally he's like, do you want to go to Swig and like get a drink? I'm trying to do anything to get off the side of this mountain with this man. So I'm like, yes, that sounds great. I love Swig. We're pulling into the drive-thru and he says to me, I hate soda. So I'm like, why are we here? What are we doing? He was like, you have to choose what I get. And if I don't like it, it's your fault. I was shocked. I was like, oh, well, like, you could just get whatever I get. Like, I think my order's pretty good, but like, whatever. We get our drinks. He takes one sip and he's like, this is disgusting. I guess my roommate gets a free drink because I'm not drinking this. I was an 18-year-old girl. I just like, I was so just like insecure and I was like, this is so weird. I had no idea what was going on. We're just sitting there. I'm sipping my little drink. We're just chatting in his car. He stops mid-conversation once again and goes, do you want to know my biggest flaw? At this point, I'm like, I could name about 4 right now, but sure, go right ahead. Obviously, I didn't actually say that, but what the mind? He looks at me and goes, I am just so cocky. I tried to save the guy. I was like, no, like being confident is a good thing. Like confidence and cockiness are different. And he was like, no, it's bad. I'm really cocky.
Clearly, we can all tell by this point that this guy finds all of this amusing. He's just taking the piss out of you, just doing all this on purpose to annoy you, to upset you. He doesn't care about your feelings. Maybe it's a social experiment for him, all of this. He just want to see how you will react, what you're going to say next, if he does this or that. I don't think this guy is so oblivious or so dumb that he doesn't even realize what he's doing wrong here. I think it's done on purpose. He's doing all this to make you uncomfortable. He just doesn't know what to say anymore and he just want to waste time, I guess.
I'm like, oh my gosh. He tells me, he goes, yeah, my roommate and I just stand shirtless in front of the mirror every single day comparing who's more attractive. He goes, some people aren't blessed to be as attractive as you and I are. I was just like, I had no idea what to say. Finally, I'm like, oh, I forgot I have an assignment due tonight that I forgot to do. Like, I need to go back to my apartment. Drop me off. He goes to drop me off. He pulls up to my apartment, unlocks the door and says, so when's our next date? I was like, oh, I'm kind of busy. I don't really know like when I'm going to be available. He's like, okay, well, like I'll call you. Something about me takes a lot for me to save someone's number on my phone. So I didn't save his number. A few days later, I get a FaceTime call from a random number as I'm getting out of the shower. I'm literally just wearing a robe. Tell me why I answered it. Tell me why I answered it. I don't know. So I answer this FaceTime and it's this guy. I can't remember his name for the life of me. And I'm like, oh, like, hey. He's like, hey, just get out of the shower. I was like, don't try me. He's like, so when's our next date? And I was kind of just like, I don't know if it's going to happen. Like, I'm sorry. I don't think we're going to go on another date. And he goes, I understand. Okay. Good night, my little philosopher.
I can't believe that this guy didn't know what he did wrong and that he insisted on getting a second date. I mean, he must have known that he wasn't the kindest or the most pleasant person to spend time with, right? I mean, he gets food for himself and he eats it in front of you while not sharing. That's crazy. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe. And again, let me remind you that if you are a single woman that is dating actively and strategically for marriage, then I invite you to join my community. You will find the link for it in the description box under this video, and it will definitely help provide more guidance and support during this difficult journey that dating for marriage can be, especially in today's world.